Congratulations on your win last night. Thank you.
Well, you know how politics is. I don't know if it's a congratulations or not. Gotta be done.
Well, there's always a time, there's always the other.
That's right. Don't need that one.
You want it power on?
Yeah.
It's all right.
That is not going to be good for this. Let's see.
Let's put it right here.
So right there.
Yeah, hopefully it'll
Yeah.
pick that up.
Young lady.
So now is he broadcasting it somewhere? Is that what they're doing?
I don't know.
No, there's no podcast.
Oh, recording too. Okay. So we got, all right.
Okay.
While he's getting that ready, while you guys were talking to your insurance people,
State who you guys are.
Jennifer Huffner, Garden City.
And you represent who?
I represent myself and Garden City.
So you represent Garden City?
Well, I'm here as a member of Garden City
As a
community.
citizen?
Yes, as a
Okay,
citizen,
okay,
yeah.
that's what we need to point out. And Bryce?
Bryce Huffner, and I am a citizen of Garden City,
Okay.
representing people in Garden City.
School board for long.
In our company, we just went through the insurance thing as well. And I just wanted to mention to you guys an option that you may want to look at that's not insurance. It's called, it's a health share ministry. And there are 4 or 5 or 6 different groups out there that do this. And these groups are actually exempted from the Affordable Health Care Act, from the insurance requirement. And you can join these groups, and it's not insurance, but the group pools, well, they don't pool their money, but they help each other pay each other's medical bills. And that's what we're doing for our company, is we're having our people sign up for that rather than the traditional medical insurance. The one we're using is Liberty Health Share. It actually doesn't get paid into a pool, but you get, well, they each have a little different way that they do it, but the money doesn't go into one bank account and then get distributed from there. It goes directly to pay other members' medical costs and bills, and it's much cheaper than health insurance. So it might be something worth looking into for the county too. The one we're looking into is called Liberty Health Share. If you want me to send a link to that one, I can. You guys can take a look at it, but
We never turn down the opportunity to look at things.
it's worth a look to see if it would work for you guys. I don't know. It's sure a lot less expensive.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to take a vote on, let's see, everybody's favorite ice cream. Who likes vanilla? Chris Corey, will you track this for me?
Oh.
Vanilla.
You're the
1
mathematician.
for vanilla?
Vanilla's loser.
Give
Okay.
them their options and then let them vote because they don't know what they're voting for.
Okay, so there's vanilla, chocolate, or Neapolitan, okay?
No raspberry?
No, not this time. Okay, vanilla, chocolate, and Neapolitan. Okay. All right, so who's the winner? Chocolate? Okay, what if this half of the people get counted for half? Then who's the winner?
I can't answer the question. I couldn't see. I didn't go look at my wife when she was had her hand up. So I don't know.
All right. What?
So chocolate still wins.
Okay, still wins.
There's
All
more
right.
people on this side than that side, so this side.
Oh.
If they were a vanilla side, I'd be a little more upset.
All right, gentlemen, that's why we're here. I think you probably understand why I brought that up. We've been through this before, but I wanted to put in an official committee or commission meeting on our concerns and presentation. So we're here to get equal representation on the Rich County School Board as far as population and the law. In 2000, the census, let's see that right here.
So, Bryce, before you go any further, is this presentation different than the one you gave us before?
Yes,
Okay,
but there are some of the things that are the same.
okay.
Okay? So the 2000 census shows, let's see if I can get that bigger. Where's Danielle when you need her? I don't remember how to get big. Yeah, anyway. All right, so Garden City in 2000 census was 501 people for the zip code area. Randolph was 764 for the zip code area. Laketown was 317, and Woodruff was 401. And, you know, I looked at this just after the 2000 census 10 years ago, because you always hear how we're not getting represented properly, and I got tired of hearing people complain about it, and I didn't know what the law was, or, you know, anything. So I looked at the census and I said, well, that's the way it is, and, you know, that's the way it should be. I now know that even then that wasn't the way it was supposed to be, but it is what it is. In 2010, I looked at the census about a year late, but I did look at it in January and February, and I discovered that according to the census, Garden City area has 824 people, Randolph has 692, Laketown has 347, and Woodruff has 407. Garden City is now 19% larger than Randolph area, but we have one school board representative, Randolph has two. In the census, you have your CCDs, and those are your block tracks that are on these maps. You can see all the numbers on here. I've gone through and I've put a number on each tract, and it's on the sheet that you have here that shows the population in each community according to how I would recommend that, not just me, but the committee that I formed, that we would recommend that the county adopts. There's only, in the census, there's two CCDs in the county. There's a North CCD and a South CCD. Unfortunately, it doesn't break it up into the areas that we would need, so we just have to do that by hand. Remember, the population is determined by census tracts, and population is what determines where voting precincts are to be. It is not determined by registered voters. Just for future projections, the Governor's Office of Management and Budget projects growth in Garden City to be the town of Garden City to go from 562 to 630, Randolph from 464 to 519, Laketown 248 to 266. So the growth trend continues. Utah code states that every 10 years, at least, it is to be the census is to be reviewed for proper voting districts. And I don't know when that was done last. I know you guys did it in 11, you made some adjustments. But you obviously didn't look at the tracts relative to Garden City and the population there, according to the census. That's in the Utah Code, section, Title 20A, Chapter 14, Section 201. We can only have 5 school board members on our board because we have less than 10,000 students. So, I brought this to your attention 8 months ago. We made a presentation in an official capacity here in this board in March. You indicated that you would form a committee. I understand you have formed a committee now, 8 months later. But at this rate, it won't be done in a timely manner.
Well, what's a timely manner?
As soon as possible.
Here's 2 things I want to bring up. Number 1, because the districts were not done before the 1st of January, then there was no, as far as this last election, that made absolutely no difference whatsoever as to where the school board would represent.
I understand that.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, that's very
That's the
clear.
law.
That's the law. Okay.
I didn't say do it this election.
Well,
I said as soon as possible.
but because we had an election going on and the redistricting is going to change where people are going to vote, it became confusing to people as you went about and presented to your committee as to where people was going to vote. Because this particular redistricting wasn't going to make any difference in this election, we chose to wait till after the election to do the redistricting so people understood exactly where they were going to be voting.
That's why you chose?
That's exactly why we chose.
Well, would have been nice to know.
Know what? We told you
Why?
we would do it.
No, you told us you would do it. You said you'd have a committee the next commission meeting.
And as we discussed it, and you went about and did your committee work, and people calling and going now, so am I going to be voting in Lake Town? Am I going to be voting in Randolph? Where am I going to be voting in this next election? You had a primary, and we had a general election. We chose to wait till after the election before we embarked on the process of doing the redistricting. We started talking about members right after you come in our last time to form our committee. I mean, most of our committee members have been on board throughout the whole summer, but we just decided that we'd wait till after the election so that people weren't confused as to where and what this was going to be. End of story. The meeting is 2 weeks from today for our committee to meet and go over this very thing. Now, I'm going to invite you to come and present what you've got to the official committee that the county has appointed. Would you like to do that?
Thank you, I would.
Good. Because we would like you to come. You've done a lot of work. But this will be at a timeline as we move through it. You're not going to push this through because you've appointed yourself as you've been called, the redistricting czar. You know, I mean, it's the bottom line is we'll move through the process. You know, when you email the lieutenant governor's office and all the and they're breaking the law and they're not doing it, and I want representation at this meeting from the lieutenant governor's office, from our legislative people, and those kind of things. The bottom line is we're moving through the process, Bryce. And you'll learn as you become a school board member, these things don't happen overnight.
I realize that, but it's been 8 months and I haven't heard a word from you.
We told you we would do it.
But you said you'd have a committee ready the next month, and you didn't.
No, you said when's a timely fashion. I said as quick as we can get things done.
Now, I
And
think
we-
in
and as we
the
discussed
meeting
it-
minutes it says we'd have a committee ready the next month. Now, if you didn't, that's fine, but there was never any word.
You know,
And I just appreciate some communication. I'm not the bad guy here, I'm just trying to get representation for...
I understand, and the process needs to be done. We're not disputing that whatsoever. But the bottom line is, the committee will be appointed today by the commission. They will meet 2 weeks from today in the evening. We're inviting you to come and do your presentation to them. And as we move through that process, we will look and probably have this done by the end of the year.
Great.
And what we're hoping to have come to the county commission, we'll have one county commissioner sitting on the board, and then we'll have our other committee. We're hoping to have more than one recommendation out there, and but have one that the committee recommends to us.
Okay.
In other words, we're not going to just take the first thing that comes along. Hopefully we have the committee comes up with a good one and gives to us. There'll be other options out there, but we should have to have a really good reason if we don't accept what the committee puts forth.
Okay.
As with everything that we do in the county. And in light of, you probably got more that you want to show us?
Yeah.
So we probably,
Yeah, we just go along. So now you know where we're at in our process. Go ahead with what you're gonna do.
All right.
Do you want me to do?
No, any comments? All right, so as I've been self-appointed as the redistricting czar, and I understand it's been said I don't have any authority to do so, which you're right, I don't have any authority, but I'm acting as a citizen and presenting this information.
Well, you got every right to do it as a citizen.
That's correct.
That's
good
just
things
it.
come from concerned citizens.
Yes.
We're not
But
gonna-
it wasn't just me. We had good representation throughout the county from concerned citizens and people that are well-known and respected citizens of the county on my committee. So the committee looked at the numbers that I prepared, they reviewed them, and as we went about it, some of the things we realized we needed to do is you got to shoot for 453 people in your district, each district, and it needs to be within plus or minus 10% of that to fall under the law.
The law says 10%?
Let me finish. There's nowhere it says exactly 10%, but in other states, in other areas, that's the number they've used.
Well,
the Utah code does
that-
not say 10%.
But it does not.
It does
The
not.
code is silent. So 10% is your,
That's why I put it in the committee. We were
Okay.
shooting for 10%.
okay, but I'm just want to point out, you're saying the law, and it's not the law.
Okay, I'm sorry. The law, it does not say 10% in the law. However, if it went to court, I think 10% would stick. That's just my opinion. So we tried to stay within that. The areas need to be contiguous. That is in the law.
As
and-
possible, I think.
As possible. And we attempted to follow natural boundaries and/or roads as much as possible. And you can see the paper block maps that I've made here. All the numbers are on them, all the tracks are on them, except for 11 individuals. I don't know where they're at, I couldn't find them. But even if 11 individuals were placed into any of the districts as I am recommending, you still fall well within that 10% range that I think is not the law, but is a good number to follow. All right, so I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so the seat number 1, which would be the Bear River Valley and south, would be all of Woodruff and up to this dividing line here, and not include Randolph. So you can kind of see where those lines are. This can be adjusted. However, it needs to be equitable and fair. But I can tell you guys, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference. There's really not a lot of options. If I'm wrong, I'd be surprised. Okay, there's the Randolph district. Jets out into there a little bit. And cuts off just the very tip of the northern part of Randolph. I think there's 16 and 20 in these two areas as far as population. But that goes into the North Bear River Valley and Lake Town district. Here in Randolph, just if you scroll down in there, you can see where those lines were. And that's following, again, that's following these block tracks on here and then just plotting it on the map.
And the block tracks are from the census data, just to clarify.
They are the census data, yes. Okay, so the North Bear River Valley and the town of Lake Town are one seat. That'd be seat number 3. You can kind of see where that breakdown is. This area here is everything that would be kind of the seat number 4, the southern part of Garden City and down into Round Valley and Meadowville. But it would also reach around to the east side of the lake. Now in Garden City itself, there's a little bit of a challenge because of the block tracks. In the Buttercup area, there's a huge, I don't know why it's so big when there's so many other small ones, but there's a huge track in there that's 116 people. And so it makes it kind of difficult to just make a nice, smooth break. So if you see the tracks here, there's this big track right here. It has a couple small ones inside of it, but this big one is 113 people. And it's right in the center of Garden City. I mean, it'd be nice if it was block tracked right there, maybe up Buttercup Lane or something like that, because that's about where the split would be, but it's not. It's this whole area from the center of town all through there. And so you can't really break it up. And so what we did is we included all these blue ones, and then the east side of the lake, or the east side of the road to the lake as seat number 5. So this is seat number 4, and it incorporates Meadowville and around to the east side of the lake.
So that track that you've got where you've got the black line drawn there and it steps up there.
This is the track right here. That's one track, and it's 113 people. I mean, if they had 3 tracks, 40 or something like that, then it'd be easy to break it up, but you can't. So in order to make these an even distribution, I had to finger this down into here. There's not another way to do it that I could see.
That's what I expect you to do.
So that makes seat 5, all of the north part of Garden City, Bridgerland, and then along the shoreline here. Okay? Any questions? Okay, this is, can't see it very good, but this is how those
The last page in your packet.
different districts break up. And they're all within about 3%, 3.5% of the target. And like I say, I've accounted for everybody on those tracks except for 11 people, and I can't find them.
So then you have 8 tracks? No.
No, there's, you can see the colors.
3, 4,
Those
5.
the same colors are, they're just kind of split up into some different areas, but the blue is seat 5, the green is seat 4, the orange is seat 3, yellow is seat 2, and the red is seat 1.
Okay.
Okay, so I have contacted the Lieutenant Governor's office, but gentlemen, I haven't heard anything.
Well, we've been in contact with them.
All right, but you hadn't. I mean, I hadn't heard anything.
They're aware of what we're doing.
Yeah, they are, but they weren't when I talked to them. So,
Well, they don't need to.
what do you mean they don't need to?
If we're doing our job, they don't need to do our
Well,
job for us.
the thing is this job should have been done 10 years ago and 2 years ago, and it hasn't been. That's the concern, and that's why I would like to see action quickly, because it should have been done. So I feel you drug the process out, and you can say people were concerned about where they were voting. There was no changes being made. It's a process. You know it's a process. People know it's a process. They're looking for reasons to get us stirred up. And there's no reason to be stirred up. It just needs to be done. All right. I guess my last thing is if it doesn't move along, Garden City residents will seek legal counsel. But I hope it doesn't come to that. If you can have this done by the end of the year and have it ready, then we can have a special election and get it done. That's what we were asking.
Can I show them this?
Yes.
Bill, I know you were concerned at one point, maybe you still are, maybe you're not, about the census data not being accurate information, and that you weren't really comfortable with using that for the redistricting process. And one of the things that you mentioned was that you see census things coming through the mail a lot. I was chosen by the Census Bureau to participate in a survey that was separate from the actual census that they do every 10 years. And so I got mailings requesting that I participate in that, and which I did do. They actually came to my door not because the mail didn't get to me because we have P.O. boxes and they didn't send it to a P.O. box. But once they contacted me and I was able to participate in that survey, and it was just more information about who was in our family, whether or not they worked, and how much money we made. And it was information that they said was used in order for planning purposes. And then she also sent me another letter. It included just a thank you letter for participating in that survey. And she even had like a coloring book that she sent for Sarah to color on. And she just said that the survey depends on, I'll just read this little paragraph from her letter. She says, the success of the survey depends upon cooperation from you and other households selected for the survey. Federal, state, local, and tribal governments will use summarized information from this survey to make decisions and to develop programs that will provide health care, education, transportation services that affect you and your community. To learn more about the American Community Survey, and then she gives a link that you can go to learn more. And so I just want you to know that not everything that's coming through is necessarily related to confusion about the official results of the census that was taken at the end of that 10-year period. I think some of the stuff that's coming through is related to the census, but it's not, because they're still trying to figure out the numbers. It's additional survey. They're getting additional information. And so I don't know if you're still concerned about using the survey data, but I feel like it's really important that that's what we use is, well, not the survey data, but the census data.
Well, the law says we'll use the census data. You know, I mean, that's what it says, and we'll follow the law.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate knowing that.
Okay, so I had some dates on here where I'd like to see a special election timetable, because I think we should have it. I don't know anything about the law on that. I've not been able to talk to the Lieutenant Governor's office because of the election that we're currently in, but I will be finding that out. I know Garden City wants the representation that we should have, and because it should have been done, then I think there's a process to get it done. Okay, one more item that's not really related to that, but I think it ought to be something that you guys are aware of, and I know you are, but we know that in the next few years, the political arena is going to shift. And honestly, Garden City has been the stepchild of the county for years. And when that political...
How do you figure? That's a pretty tough statement. Explain that.
Well, who's here representing Garden City?
We all do. I just run on that seat.
Yes, you did. Tom, you know what
So you're telling me I don't represent Garden City?
I'm telling you often you don't.
Really?
Yes.
When have I not represented Garden City? When have I said anything that hasn't been supportive of what's going on in Garden City?
Well, it's not just what you say, it's what you do. And I mean, you're all three ranchers, and I like you all. And this isn't to be personal. I mean, I'm the
Well,
czar.
you're making it that way.
I'm the czar of the redistricting. All I'm saying is, it would be nice to have a different interest rather than 3 full-time ranchers on the board. You have to admit that that doesn't represent the true interests of Garden City. Now, I don't know if we need to talk about specifics of things that we feel, because it's happened over years. You know that it's there.
Go on with your presentation.
Thank you. Anyway, so my concern is I do not want Bear River Valley, Randolph Woodruff to be treated the same, or even feel like they are, if I'm mistaken. I would recommend that you consider, when we redistrict, to start making moves to have a 5-member commission that is voted in the same districts. That way, you'll have representation. And if I'm mistaken about my lack of representation, then so be it. And believe it or not, the ranching community is a wonderful thing. And I want to see it succeed over here. But I want to see Garden City do what Garden City does best, and it's not ranching. It's recreation. Now, I'm not saying you guys, every chance you get, shaft Garden City, but your interests are different.
Well, the long and the short of it is every person in the county, when our seats are up for grabs, vote on them.
Right. You're right.
And, and that's what's happened so far. That doesn't happen all the time. Bryce was in there for
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
There's been years ago that Cook, he was in there, and I remember. But that's just how the vote goes. There's always been somebody from there, here, and Woodruff. If it gets to the point that we think that we need to, that we're not supporting the Garden City interests, then I would suggest that we probably look at it. And we have discussed it, that we feel like the cost of going to that board versus the commission style of government isn't there just yet.
Well,
Maybe it will be here before too long. I don't know.
And I just don't want that. Like I say, whether I'm completely wrong or not, I don't know. But it's not a good feeling to have, one way or the other. And I know many residents in Garden City feel that way. And so if the roles reverse, I'd hate to see that.
I understand that, and I guess what I would feel like here, that if everyone in Garden City feels like we're out to get them or going to try to shaft them, then I would like to hear a call from them of things that are on the burner that we need to deal with, that we aren't just like this. I mean, if we hear from you, we're going to take care of business. We do. But you're going to have to talk to us. And I don't think and Bill's over there quite a bit. Tom lives there. Bend our ears and
I guess I'd like to know how you're getting shafted. How are you getting shafted?
Well, I know there's a lot of friction, not a lot, but often friction with Garden City in the county trying to do things. Right now I know there's friction.
Okay, now let me just talk to you about that friction a little bit. Each of us have jurisdictions that it's called turf and what is it? Turf and so you look at Garden City has city limits. Those are where you have jurisdiction of. the mayor of Garden City and his council, they have control over what goes on within that. They can be more restrictive than what we are, but they can't be less restrictive. We can be more restrictive of what the state is, but we can't be less restrictive than what the state is.
Right.
Now, when it gets to putting things out in the county, that's our jurisdiction. And we don't need, and when you talk about friction, there's not friction, there's just, that's our jurisdiction. We don't need someone telling us what we can do in the county, but if they want to say we want to see this happen in the Garden City limits, have we ever stopped them from doing anything within the city limits? I don't think we have.
Yeah, well,
And we don't come and tell you how to do it.
I know there's different perspectives on that, and that's what I'm talking
That's
about.
my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, because I've talked to the mayor about the issues and things too, and I realize there's different perspectives. All I'm saying is, honestly, gentlemen, I guess I'm saying we have 3 ranchers on the board. I like ranchers, I like beef. It's a great lifestyle. And I know you try,
Try to what?
try to represent our frame of thought, but it's not always there.
Really? What's your frame of thought? I mean, I don't get it. What have we not supported Garden City in? I mean, Garden City's in the process of doing some beachfront access, right?
And I'm not saying everything. I'm not saying everything. I'm saying there are cases.
Okay, so name those cases. I guess this is probably not the proper place, but I guess I want to know, because we're all 3 ranchers, we have no idea what goes on in Garden City. Bryce, I'm there as much as you are.
I think all we're trying to say is it might be wise to look at a representative form of government that would be more broad. And there may be some things to take into consideration, like Commissioner Weston mentioned, that we're not aware of. We're not here to get into a tit for tat about this and that. I mean, I think I would like to
Well, you're
see
just
it.
saying we don't represent Garden
I
City.
would
That's
just
what
like
you're
to
saying.
see, now wait a minute, please, Bill.
Just
I would
talk
just,
to us, that's all we.
I mean,
I would just like to
You-
see a form of government for the county that was more broadly representative of each area, because we do have areas that have different interests. And it's not, I would like to see it, for one of the reasons I would like to see it personally, is so that we can become more united as a county, instead of so much north and south. As a girl who's lived in every town except for Woodruff, I'm a Rich County girl, and I have deep love for all of Rich County. And I don't want to see the divisiveness, and I think one of the benefits of having that more of a broad representational form of government for the county would be more of a uniting thing, kind of like when they consolidated the schools, and some people were upset about it and some people liked it. But one of the benefits of that consolidation has been, I feel like we're more of a united people. And I mean, we're not here to make that demand, because that's a sort of ancillary from what we were here to talk to you about, and we don't really want to get into details because we're probably not qualified to talk details about any of that. But it's just something that we feel is sort of related to what we're here to talk to you about. But we really appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you guys, and we do know that you've done a lot of work for us, all 3 of you from Garden City. We're not going to make the accusation that there's not that there, but just that there's maybe an interest in having more broad representation for the county.
Well, I think there's been
Much
some
better statement
inroads.
than me, thank
I
you.
think there's been some inroads with Garden City coming and meeting with the commissioners when things are out there wanted. And that's what needs to happen. If we can help you, we're more than happy to help. But as far as needing you to direct what we do in the county, we really don't need direction that way. Now, this was probably timely. This was probably needed. So I don't have a problem with it, Bryce.
Yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I know that you're men trying to do a job and you get people beating up on you. And I apologize for, insinuating that you're not, and that you're not taking care of Garden City too. And I apologize.
You know, a few years ago, you come to me and you were expanding your business and wondered if I could help. And I put in a phone call and wrote a letter and you expanded your business.
Yeah.
You know, you asked me, and sure, I was glad to do it. I've even done done a, you know, a little bit of development.
Yeah.
And
So,
Okay. Well,
thank you.
Do you have any more in your presentation?
No, that is it.
All right. You'll be getting a letter. We'll officially invite you to our redistricting meeting, which like I said, it'll be 2 weeks from today. It'll be in the evening. It'll be here.
In light of the people, interested parties that we have here for this issue, Commissioner, I would wonder if, I'd make the suggestion that we go ahead and appoint our committee at this time instead of at the end of the deal where we had time and scheduled
Okay.
it. It won't take long to do that, and then they'll be aware of what's going on.
All right.
Thank you.
We can suspend the agenda. Go ahead and do that.
You want me to make that motion?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that Rich County employ for a redistricting committee the following individuals: William Cox, Bill Kennedy, Renee Barker, Callie Levitt, Taylor Payne, Sean Grohl, Betty Mills, Sim J. Weston, Chris Hopkin, Mike Meeks, Pete Cornea, Brett England, Curtis Moldenhauer, and Tammy Calder.
Okay.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
And those individuals will meet and come back to the commission with after they've been visited by Bryce, they will also do their thing and come back with recommendations to Rich County Commission.
Okay.
Can I have a copy of that list if people are having read it again somewhere?
I think Colleen's got one up there if you want to keep it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.